Good morning, traders. Welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me, John, on this Tuesday, the 14th of November. So we're going to kick it off with some trade updates. We're just going to go over the table first, obviously, just to kind of update you on what's going on here. But then I do want to just go over a few of the trade updates. We obviously had a few sort of open interest ideas in the Discord channel and some obviously live orders as well that I just want to kind of square away and get organized on, so I can just fill you in on where those positions are or were. Pound yen actually hit full targets if you were in the original position, so I can go over that and the sort of trade idea behind that. Euro yen also I think was in a really good place to close the original position. That was around about 3R as well, so in total there's about 5.4R just in those two trades. And then we've got obviously the other position open in Euro yen as well as Euro Kiwi. Long is something that we talked about going into yesterday's video, and Euro Kiwi is topping the day traders table today, Euro being the strongest currency on both tables, Kiwi being W1 on our day traders but only W3 on the trend traders. Which is nice to see. Nice to see that Kiwi coming in there. So the momentum in that market should continue to move up into full targets, hopefully. But we can look at a bit of a management plan with that as well. Yen being a weak currency as well is pretty good, considering we are still Euro Yen long, which is still top of our trend traders table. So we're looking pretty good there. Cable has got a bit of momentum behind it. I'll show you the dashboard behind that. Cable, I do like the idea of being long. Sorry, I say cable. Cable is pound US dollar. I mean pound. Sterling is looking quite strong at the moment. So we're going to go take a look at that market as well. Just before we dive into all of that, though, on the slate today, there is good pound data essentially that came out today. Well, I say good, it was above previous expectations on the average earnings index. We have got some US core CPI coming up this afternoon at 1:30 p.m. and we do have Japan GDP quarter on quarter. So it'd be nice to see if we either get those extended gains from that move, or if we can maybe manage our positions at that point, because obviously yen, very important market that we're in at this current moment in time, and it's expected to come in quite a bit below previous. So we'll see how that one plays out for us. But let's go do a little bit of trade management first. Euro Kiwi, this was the trade that we spoke about yesterday. See my entry tool on here at the moment. We're approaching the full 2-to-1 targets in here. I personally didn't manage to get on this move. I had a little family situation yesterday that I had to go out for, so there wasn't much time for me to jump on any kind of particular move. But this is exactly what we talked about. We talked about setting an alert at 181.40, one spot 81.40. We said if you hit that alert, which it did, the best idea is to place a buy stop order above that level, which was 181.50, with our stop loss below the swing low, essentially below this low, just in case price wanted to come back down, and obviously testing that zone before potentially continuing to the upside. So that's what's happened. Basically what we're looking for as well in terms of that was the basically the break and close above the 50 MA on the 30-minute time frame. It's good to use these type of averages in trending environments, and obviously we highlighted Euro Kiwi as a potential trended environment, and that's what we're seeing right now. We're heading towards that 2-to-1 target there, which is at one spot 82.70. So obviously you're in a position now, if you are in this, to kind of close out, 2-to-1 to 1.75 to 1 is brilliant. In terms of return here, we are approaching these previous daily swing highs, which was the target for our trade. After that nice daily close, we saw the pullback in the morning. We look to try and see if that daily momentum would continue, and that's exactly what's happened here. So that's nice if you are involved with that. Let's go clean up pound yen a little bit then. So obviously there were multiple sort of ideas to take on this one. There were two. One was this one down through here, which was the original idea. If you're wondering where that is, if you head over to our Discord channel, and if you head over to Pro Trade Calls and updates on the 1st of November, we posted this setup in here, which was basically that move. We then obviously posted a secondary setup here, which got stopped out, but this one has obviously rallied up towards and beyond that 2 to 1 at 2.4R, which was our full target. That little green line there was the full target for this original position. Pound yen looking to extend those gains beyond these highs, but we are back at daily swing highs now, so it'll be important to see how price reacts in and around this 186.50. So pound yen's a bit off the table for me now because we're in that resistance zone, whereas euro yen on the other hand, we talked about getting in two positions here, and we kind of discussed in yesterday's video that if you are in both positions, the smart thing to do would be to bank the first one at 3 to 1, because then you've got the 3R banked and in your account, and then you can just leave the second one to try and maybe continue to get those gains in here. At the moment, we've just breached the 1-to-1 return. We did have I guess a slight scare yesterday. There was that sort of yen shock move on dollar yen, which kind of saw price move to the downside but then continued higher, but again, there's nothing really to fear here. The averages are pointing up. I always think that's a good thing when you're looking at a trending condition. You want to see those averages continuing to push higher. The further they get away from each other will be determined by the strength of that trend, and at the moment they seem to be fairly okay in here. What we don't want to see obviously is the sort of curling over of the 50 MA with the 200 catching up. That would indicate that there's a potential pullback to come, which we don't really want to see at the moment. I like the idea of coming into that 2-to-1 targets. I think if I get to 2-to-1 here, I'll look to bank the position. The reason why I'm saying that is because it's a very similar situation to what happened with the original trade idea down through here. You know, I like the idea of taking some money out of it, waiting for the pullback, getting back in. We got in around about here on the 30-minute time frame, waiting for the pullback, get back in. So if it got to 2-to-1, we could bank, see if it pulled back to the averages, get in again, and try and carry on incrementally taking 2 to 3R trades if price does continue to the upside, because we're still eyeing up this almost 169.25. These 2008 highs is what we're really looking to see if price will go on and head towards and target, but that's a long way off, and the market should, if it is going to reach that point, it should ebb and flow like we're seeing here. It should go sideways a little bit, pull back, continue, pull back, you know, and should create that sort of trending setup. So it should give us plenty of opportunities to get in if obviously that trend does continue. So those are the sort of roundup. I just wanted to round up those positions in there. I did put a little bit of an update in the Discord this morning just to kind of give you where everything was. So that was the full update there. First entry, second trade, and then obviously EURJPY as well, running plus 86 pips. That's obviously changed now because EURJPY is almost at those kind of full targets there. So from the entry at 1.81, 50, we're up about 107 pips now. I've got 120 pip target on this one. So I think if you want to do anything here right now, it'd be bringing my stop losses up to break even and just seeing if that one will continue to play out and hit those full targets there, or I'd just look to close that position, walk away, and you know, happy days. We've had a good little run there. So let's go on to charts right now. Sorry that took a while to get through, but there was quite a few to kind of go through. Obviously EURJPY we're already in. Pound pairs is where I think the action is at. Again, if I just bring over the Discord channel, if you go into the Pro Markets dashboard, head over to this tab, you can see the pound complex here up to 50. That is something I really like the look of. So I think going into pound is going to be something to really watch out for. So let's break down a couple of those pound markets. Obviously pound yen is already in resistance, so I'm not going to touch that one. Pound Kiwi is an interesting market to me, and pound Aussie. Now pound Aussie is back at daily swing highs as well. We've got this 1.93 area where price is kind of in at the moment. These were these highs that formed back on the 23rd of October and the 13th of October, and we did get kind of aggressive sell-offs coming in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a little bit of a sell-off here. So again, we have to look at this and say to ourselves, is there enough room to the upside to get our sort of return that we're looking for out of a position? And there's not. I think we did talk about pound Aussie a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even a few days ago, and it was around this sort of area in here. And I think, you know, if we had looked at that at the time and maybe looked at the 30-minute, looked for a bit of a break above that sort of 30-minute opportunity. I actually believe it was when this happened. So that breakout there would have been the entry, stop below the 200 moving average, target that sort of support level or resistance level. Then that would have been something to kind of go into. But yeah, I think now we're at that resistance point. I don't really want to touch it when it's at resistance. That's why I also like the idea of pound Kiwi, but we are stuck in a little bit of an area here. So let's just break this down of how I would go about looking at these kind of different areas of support and resistance. I'm just going to put a vertical line here just because of OCD. I just like to make sure that these rectangles go to those all in a straight line. So first of all, I want to just identify those key highs and lows. These highs and lows are from a daily time frame, from a 4-hour time frame point of view, are really important to me, as well as obviously trend lines as well. If we look at sort of this area here, we can see connecting those two highs together with the sort of formation anchor point, we can see stretched out. We've had multiple tests at this trend line resistance, and price has now breached that trend line resistance. So for me, this is telling me a story, right? It's telling me that pound against the New Zealand dollar has been maybe in a downward movement, but now that movement may be coming to an end, and that we might be forming something different. Now, our idea is to be pound Kiwi long. So that to me is helping kind of build that picture that there could be some potential for this market to move to the upside. So the next steps I want to do is highlight those key areas of support and resistance, right? So I like to use rectangles just because you know, I think more in zones rather than just key levels, but obviously we can add labels to kind of clean this up a little bit. So it says 2.1559. I'm just going to round that down to 2.1550. Just go that half number there, and you can see that cleans that up pretty nicely. So the next sort of level of interest, obviously I want to look for areas where price has been recently and pull back. So I like to also kind of take a look at recent swing highs and say to myself, well, what's happening at that point? Obviously we rejected here, we tried to breach it again, and we failed, and we pushed lower. So that's going to be a very important level to breach to get to the next level of resistance, right? So that to me is another area of importance, and what I'm going to do is just pop a little label on there, and that says 2.09508. I'm just going to round that down again just to get to the 2.09550, and that there area is going to be important. Again, I want to highlight support and resistance, so I'm just going to keep going now and just highlight another area where price has visibly turned, right? We're just looking at this, where has price visibly turned, and I can see down here at these lows, price has turned from being bearish to bullish again. So that area down here is going to be important for buyers or sellers, either sellers looking to target or buyers looking to get long. So that says 2.0595. I'm going to round that up to the 2.06 handle and make that a whole number in there. So again, nice and clean, giving ourselves key chart labels to work with, key price points to work with, as well as highlighting key areas of support and resistance. I'm just going to highlight one more. Obviously, we've seen this area through here as well act as resistance, a bit of a double top situation going on there, and we saw a move to the downside. So I also think that this area is going to be important. If you can't fit a label there, I just like to pop the label in the middle of the actual rectangle sometimes, and you can see it says 2.1377. That's going to be easy. We can go to the 3/4 there, and we can have a little look at that. So for me, I'm looking now at this market, and I've got a picture being built for me. I can see that price has traded through that trend line resistance through there, which means that I want to be potentially bullish in this particular market. On this daily time frame, I can see that we're coming into a resistance point. I don't want to trade at highs, okay? I want to trade at lows. So just from the daily time frame alone, I want to be long down through here, okay? Now obviously we know that's not always possible. Price may not reject there, pull back, and then continue to push to the upside. So I need to wait for one or two situations. I want to wait for price to come back to support, or I want to see it breach resistance and use that resistance then as a platform to move to the next level of resistance. So if price breaches through this level, retests, rallies, then I want to be looking at this potential area for targets of price. I can also see down, obviously, through this area here, there's been points where the market's tried to turn bullish again. So we can see this candle here, this candle here. Price has tried to turn bullish again, but failed. Now, if I go to a 4-hour time frame, this is going to make a lot more sense, because if I go to a 4-hour time frame, I can see that it was a consolidation and a breakout, a little bit of a move down, bit of a pullback, and a continuation to the downside. So this area might be a little bit important as well, because obviously buyers and sellers were trying to or found fair value essentially, and they agreed on where that price is. Then the sellers push price to the downside. So that's going to be an area for buyers to kind of think about whether they want to push price beyond that point. But I think the 2.137 could be good targets. This obviously looks like clear resistance now on the 4-hour. You can see you've had a very good extension to the upside, way above the averages now. So I would expect some kind of pullback and maybe a break in continuation. But that's how I'm looking at pound Kiwi at the moment. I think we need to wait to see price breach the highs here or pull back into these supporting lows, or we may even get away with looking at kind of 4-hour swing highs down through here, which may provide a little bit of support for price. But do I think it's the best market to go and trade right now? Probably not, just because we are at that resistance. Now, it doesn't mean you can't look at the long, so you can see the hourly we're way ahead of the 50 MA there. So if I just kind of bring it down to where that 50 MA is, and we just look left, how does that correspond, or do we have any confluence looking left essentially? Well, we've got the 50 MA, we've got this kind of swing low here on the hourly, we've got this high and these highs. So there's potential here for price to kind of come back down towards this level. Now, I'm just going to change the visualization and make sure that this is on the hourly only, just so we don't kind of make our charts too sort of noisy on a higher time frame. But if I just pop that in, so again, confluence, I'm looking for confluence, and I can see 2.08, nice psychological level as well. We can add fibs if the fibs is something you like to work with. Obviously I've got this as an entry tool at the moment, so I won't be using a Fibonacci retracement there, but you can see 2.08, lots of confluence going through here. We can also probably add some trend line support as well, with the potential formation point down here on the 9th of November, anchored through on the 10th. That also spreads out into this zone. So you can see we've built this kind of picture now that is a potential area that price may want to come into and continue higher if all the conditions remain to be met. Okay, so pound Kiwi is one to watch here. I think at the moment though, we've got a couple of positions open. Euro yen is looking good, so I'm happy to stick to that. Euro Kiwi obviously as well. Euro just looks good in general. We did discuss getting Euro Oz long yesterday, but we didn't get the condition here on the 5-minute time frame. This is the 15-minute. What I did notice on the 15-minute was this swing low in here. You can see large push up, that low there creates that bullish move. Price came and tested that, and that's when we've seen sort of an increase in price there. So yeah, lots of good stuff that we've had recently, but price is coming into resistance points now, so probably need to just hold back a little bit. Let's just have a quick look back and see what's happening here. So pound Kiwi we've discussed, Euro Kiwi we've discussed, pound yen is at resistance, Euro yen we're in. I think that's where we're kind of at the moment, to be honest. So thanks for watching the video. I hope that all made sense. Please remember, if you haven't joined the Discord, please jump in there as well, and I'll catch you in the next one.